When you evaluate the last 8 or 9 games defensively, what numbers mean the most to you?
Yeah, so, we talked 10 games ago. It was really after South Dakota and UVU blitzed us. We were standing in this really miserable place with our three-point defense percentage, and we've talked about how that kind of led us to a schematic change where we just felt like we're giving up the wrong threes. We're giving up rhythm threes and driving kick game, and so that's been a huge change for us, and it came with challenges. It came with real communication challenges. It puts a real onus on communication. I think our guys have done a really tremendous job about getting better in terms of our urgency and directness and our ability to communicate things in real time.
And it seems like a lot of the threes that teams are taking against you are just off the bounce and
which is
not really worked.
Yes, that's key for us. Like that's we're giving up different shots right now, and that's been super productive. And that doesn't mean guys can't make those shots, but they're less efficient. They're just really less efficient. So that was a big change for us. Transition defense has been a work in progress, and I feel like we've made some decent hit or miss progress there. And then the third place where we're really just trying to find some life is to be aggressive defensive without fouling. These practice fouls have just killed us, and so we actually had some really solid plays against San Diego, which for everything San Diego is, they're an incredibly explosive offensive team, and we had some plays where we just not fouling gave us some life to force them to take a tough shot, whereas we spent a lot of this season fouling guys with practice-type fouls where we were bailing them out of a tough play, like put them in a tough position and just send them to the free throw line. So those are like 3 primary markers. There's a billion others, but that's...
How do you feel about that starting lineup, how it performed in San Diego and moving forward?
Yeah, I thought, I like the group. We'll keep tinkering and tweaking it. We probably have, we have 7 or 8 guys that could all start, and it probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But we won the game, and so 3 cheers for that, right? I'll give those guys a nod because we won. So.
Where does Gonzaga fit in maybe the hierarchy of rivalries here at BYU?
Yep. Well, for us, they certainly draw a ton of attention. It's they've been pretty dominant in our matchups, but we we've had some big wins that are super important, and so over the last several years we've both spent a lot of time on the national stage, and certainly they've been the leader of this conference. There's no doubt, but. It's super fun. I mean, those are the 2 venues in our league where you're sold out, and there's a frenzy about it, and for the last couple of years we've been top 25 programs, and so it makes it really fun. And on a personal level, Coach Few's been so generous to me and so kind, and so it's a great game that we love so much, even though sometimes it can be madly frustrating.
Where are they different from even last year? Similar? How do they match up from what you saw last year?
Well, if freaking Drew Timme is, how many years does he have left? Just go be a pro already.
So his next step is Columbia Medical School.
Yeah, maybe. So they, he's been the face of that program for a decade, it seems like. And he's one of the best players in the country, and he does it his own way, and he does it in a way that nobody has successfully figured out. We talk about it all the time. Over the last 96 hours, again, the conversation we've had over the last several years is just what do you do with him? And it's kind of like every different look you give him, he just has a really special answer for. He's a tough competitor. He's kind of everything you want in a leader. So in that sense, they're very similar. They're not as they're not as long as they were last year for sure, but they're really explosive. They're shooting the ball at a really, really explosive clip. They've got some young guys that have grown up in the program that are becoming stars. So some different bodies, but the same problems.
How much nostalgia creeps in knowing that this is the final game in the WCC era where you guys are going to play Gonzaga at home?
I've actually as we've been on the road for 3 of our 4 games, and that's probably been more. I've been really blessed because I've been here. I'm working on my 4th year here now, and then I was here for 4 years before, so I spent a lot of time in these gyms, and there's great memories, right? And so I think there's. I think I think it's something about visiting the other venues, right? But certainly, like this game has been something that's been super meaningful to us. I think it's super fun for our fans, and it's going to be a really fun gym on Thursday, like it always is. And I guess the one thing about Gonzaga is I think that Coach Few and myself are both inclined to find a way to, keep playing somehow. I don't know if it's every year, but find a home and home from time to time that we can do. So maybe I have a little less nostalgia there because I suspect we're going to get to play them again. We'll see. You never know, but hopefully.
Without Chet Holmgren in the lineup now, does that factor into how you approach Timmy, and can you do more on Timmy?
Well, the thing about Chet was, what a problem he was, right? And he was such an elite level passer. He was just, my gosh, what a problem. He was shooting the ball at a high clip, and he was such an incredible rim protector, and he was such an elite level partner with Drew because he's such a great high-low passer, and you had to guard him, right? And he could just pass over you whenever he wanted. He's like, I don't need to worry about you little people. I'm just going to go make a play. And this Watson is a terrific talent. He's a big-time player, and he's playing at an elite level. He's just a different challenge. He's more physical. He's an elite-level rebounder with his size. He's become way more aggressive in transition. He's making plays off the bounce. They're running, they're using him as a spin dribble backdoor guy. So he's also a really formidable partner. It's just a different look, but they're both really good.
Just to follow up on the home and home comment, is that going to be for next year, or are you working with
I don't know. Yeah, we haven't had any conversations like that. I'm just excited to see who's in the league next year, right? Let's get to that point first. And all we've done with kind of scheduling is trying to put everything on a pause, and so we can see exactly where we're going to be next year with league and everything else, and then try and put it together there. But I don't think I think Coach Few has been like, hey, anybody that'll play me, let's go. So I think there's a chance we get that game, and he's talked about, we've talked about that before. It's just like, hey, maybe this is something that we continue. I don't know when. We'll see. I'm not smart.
How important is transition defense and transition offense, for that matter, against a team like Gonzaga?
Yeah, so these Zags, man. Oh, jeez. It's kind of like there's a price of admission to even compete in the game, and you don't get a chance to compete in the game if you don't guard in transition. It's like you don't even get a chance to compete. And if you can't compete with them on the glass, you don't even get a chance to compete. So if you think about this team, if you don't guard them in transition, and if you don't guard them on the glass, if you don't compete with them on the glass, what are you even doing? And so those are massive keys. They always have been. They're hallmarks of Coach Few's programs over the last 2 decades. There are real reasons why that team is so special, and they do a million other things that are nearly impossible to stop, but those are kind of the entryway to just having a chance to even compete in the game.
What is the change, if any, in sort of rebounding scheme in order to deal with how good they are on the glass? Because you guys place a premium on it, but is there anything that changes to deal with that?
Yeah, so they've taught us something. We actually had never used the term of a second hit, but they're magic. And really, it's Timmy and Watson. They're unbelievable. You always have a collision when you're working on the glass. We actually started with this terminology last year because they were just drilling us on the glass, and so this idea of a second hit, a lot of times what happens is you'll watch film and Timmy will get into you, you'll have a collision on the glass, and then as you go prepare to raise up in the air, he gives you a second hit and he just clears out space and the ball just lands in his lap. And so we've actually put that into our into our verbiage of how we talk about things, second hit, and we have to be great with the second hit. We have to compete on the ground longer and in the air shorter and later. to have a chance to compete with these guys. Foose gonna have to be great. Teague's have to be great. Gideon's have to be great. Jackson Robinson is. This is going to be stress him a little bit in the sense of he's been a really vertical rebounder, and he's rebounded solid for us. Richie Saunders is going to really test him, and then it's going to be smash down guys, right? It's going to be guards actually going and embracing it and getting a second hit also, and. Like a hallmark of this team is, and what you don't see on TV is their physicality is just incredible. Just their strength and physicality. And for some reason, it doesn't translate when you watch it on TV. You just kind of experience it when you feel it. And so that's all, keys for us in terms of trying to compete with them on the glass.
How do you walk the tightrope of doing all of that while, like you said earlier, avoiding fouls, too many fouls?
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I haven't done a good job coaching that this year. So I got a suggestion box right here. Please put them in, and we'll do the best we can.
How pleased have you been with the defense in
Yeah.
league play so far, and can it carry over against this offensive juggernaut?
Yeah, listen, I'm really, we're getting better, especially on the defensive end. We made some real strides. I think we're, analytically, we're, in the top 30 right now on the defensive side, and that has not come by accident. That's our guys really working on that. We got a lot of work to do on the other side of the ball, and we have to keep getting better on that side. But I'm super proud of it. It's one of the nice things for our team that is not the case always is that we've had some successful stretches offensively and some stretches where we're just almost dysfunctional offensively, and usually that sucks away your defensive energy. And these guys have refused to let that happen. And it's a credit to them, right? They're coming to try and guard every single possession, regardless of what the outcome is on the other side of the ball, or what the frustration level of the game is, or how dire the situation is. They've been really committed to selling out on the defensive end, and if we keep doing that, we're going to keep getting better there.
What areas has Foose, or maybe what area does he impact the most? Do you see when he's on the floor?
Well, clearly he's an offensive weapon for us, and he's a weapon on the offensive glass. And his biggest growth space right now has been him switching defensively. Him and Atiki both have just changed our existence over the last 3 weeks, giving us the opportunity to switch. They can pick up the ball in transition. They can switch ball screens now and be pretty functional. They're going to get better every day, but that's a space we haven't lived in over the last year and a half, and that's been a massive change. And he's having a big impact that way. But clearly him is a roll guy and a catch in the post guy and a demand a double team, earn us a power play in a really simple way. He has an impact on the game every single possession.
So, last question. The student section announced a few weeks ago that they're actually going to name those two inflatable things called the Blues Brothers. They're going to name them for Thursday's game.
Nice.
If you had a choice in the matter, what would the names be?
Oh boy, I wish I had a great answer for you. I don't though, but I'm sure it's gonna be something great. The Rock is unbelievable. How fun is this? To have students back on campus. We're super excited about that. Thank you guys. Thanks. Appreciate y'all.